This is Judicial Brady List, and today we're going to review, up top here is John Robert Blakey. He's a district court judge in Cook County, Illinois. And down below here is Peter Felice. He's a judge also in Cook County, Illinois. And we're going to review. To the right is his son, so you see that they keep him in the business. Blakey was an Obama appointee. I think it was back in 2014, and he worked for he was an assistant district attorney, and so the case we're going to address today. Just take a quick look at this guy here. On the bottom left is again, that's Peter Felice. We're going to get to know him a little bit. And again, John Robert Blakey. We're gonna get into discussions about them here in just a moment. So, Judicial Brady List. One thing I've observed is that in First Amendment audits, most of them focus on the police and some of the misdeeds of the police. What the Judicial Brady List focuses on is the judiciary and their behavior and their role and how law enforcement works in this country. When you see the police behave the way they do, something leads them to believe that what they're doing is appropriate. Something leads them to believe that they can get away with it, and I'm going to discuss the role of these particular judges and and how it pertains to this case. What I have in front of me here are some videos that were created by a First Amendment audit. She calls her page Pink Camera Magic, and what she did was she had some traffic issues she had to deal with, so she's at court and she's killing some time waiting for her 1:30 appointment. So they told her she couldn't go through the metal detector with her camera, so she went back outside and she was experimenting with her new camera, and she was recording the exterior of the building. And initially, this fellow here, second to the bottom, he came out, asked her what she was doing. She told him that she was recording, and he says for what purpose, and she essentially told him it was really none of his business. And so he calls the supervisor, which is this top guy. He's a lieutenant, and he's been a court police officer for 27 years, and he's been a lieutenant for 22 years. And that top video is his deposition when she ultimately sued them in federal court. It's really an amazing. It's an hour and 37 minutes long, but it's just action packed, beginning to end. The insanity that goes on. The second video down is a deposition of a sergeant that was involved, and then the third one down is a short synopsis done by Lackluster, which is a YouTube channel with 1.1 million subscribers. So they picked it up, and that's how important that they feel that this story is. The fourth one down was the final decision of the district court. Then second to the bottom was the deposition of this court police officer. He wasn't too bad. He did his job. No issues with him. And then at the bottom is a video where she reviews the transcript of her interaction with Judge Peter Felice, and you'll get to see what that guy's all about. But anyway, so the court police officer called for a supervisor, and which is this top guy, Lieutenant Milazzo, and he came out and he was demanding her identification. She refused. He put her in handcuffs, He said that she was in violation of a judicial order. She asked to see a copy of the judicial order, and he refused to provide it to her because there was no such judicial order that covered the exterior of the building. But he took her inside, had her handcuffed, had her in there for 2 hours, while they threatened her that if she didn't provide ID, that she'd go before the judge and that she'd spend 90 days in the county jail, for video recording the exterior of a public building. They took her purse and just dumped it out on the counter, and going through her ID. They were going through her camera. The lieutenant deleted her images. Ultimately, basically they say, if you give us your ID, you'll be free to go. Otherwise, they're threatening that she'll be spending 90 days in county jail. So ultimately, they go before this judge, Peter Felice. That's the bottom video here, and he's telling her to delete the photos, and he's bullying her, and it's just absolutely ridiculous, this guy, and and ultimately, he took her memory card and said he'd have his professionals go through it and delete what was necessary, and so he set a date for her. Keep in mind, no charges, no nothing. So she had to come back on a specific day, and basically he just gave her memory card and said, we didn't alter it. Have a good day, and that was that. But so she didn't think all that was appropriate. So she got this attorney. His name is Salman Radke, and he did these depositions. You've got to watch these depositions. They are hilarious. He just makes a goddamn fool out of these court cops. Now, keep in mind, she's suing him in federal court, and the judge, which is John Robert Blakey, who just happens to be an Obama appointee. We're not going to get into politics and all of this, but it will be interesting to see how different judges behave based on their political affiliation. But so she's suing the court police, and this guy was an assistant district attorney. So essentially, she's suing the court system. You talk about an exercise in futility, and so what is the judge came up with some case law where there was a guy who was hiding in the weeds 2 hours before a court was open, and they determined that that was adequate case law to establish that they had probable cause to detain this person. And it's just so ridiculous. He probably spent 30 days trying to reverse engineer this nonsense for his agenda. So he goes through the entire case, looking for some opportunity to dismiss the thing. and that's what he did. He dismissed it. If you look at the depositions, they're so in the wrong. They violated her First Amendment right. They violated her Fourth Amendment right. I mean, it's just from beginning to end. These people, I just don't know who they think they are. But it's kind of interesting. Ultimately, the judge knew better than to delete her images, and it turns out she was able to unerase the photos, because these people they don't realize that when you delete a photo, it's not deleted, and unless you completely delete it. So she was able to get the photos back, but you can see that the court is hesitant about arresting people for judicial orders. Unless they're actually in the courtroom. When they're in the courtroom itself, they've got more power. But she wasn't in the courtroom; she was outside the building, and so it was very interesting to watch their hesitancy to use their contempt powers in this particular situation. So anyway, so they dismissed the case even after these depositions. And again, you got to watch these depositions. It's absolutely hilarious. This top one, like I said, it's an hour and 37 minutes. It popped up on my YouTube when I was watching the World Series, and I just started watching this and that with the World Series. It was riveting, and this Solomon Radke just chewed these people up and spat them out, and he's fantastic. But the problem is that apparently he switched law firms, and his new law firm wasn't really interested in this case because there's really no money involved, and so they did appeal this decision, but they accepted like a $15,000 settlement. And I'm not going to say 15,000 is high or low because it's the taxpayers' money, for this situation. But the problem is that, if there aren't ramifications to this, it leads those cops to believe that they can get away with doing this stuff, and they'll keep doing it. And so that's why cops believe that they can get away with it. It's why they believe it's appropriate, because it's basically sanctioned by the court. Their ridiculous behavior was sanctioned by the court, and it's just not right. And so, across the board, that's why you see cops behaving the way they do all across the country, because they're basically vindicated in court, and most people won't even take it this far. It took her 3 years to get to this point where it was dismissed. It would probably take her another 2 years to appeal it. But her attorney's firm didn't want to pursue it anymore, which is extremely unfortunate because you just can't let them get away with this stuff. But she considered it a win just to get these depositions to show the way that these people behave. So again, Peter Felice was just condescending, arrogant jackass, and you can see how that was in this very bottom video. And then you can't really see the behavior of Blakey, because they won't allow recording of these hearings, which is an outrage. The government has no expectation of privacy. They should be allowed to record these hearings. But all you have with Blakey is the fourth one from the top. That's the analysis of his decision, and she has links to the actual decision, but it's just reverse engineered nonsense for their political purposes, for their own benefit. In other words, that judge is making a determination for his best interest, not what's legal, not what is justice. And at these lower level courts, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get local politics. So you basically from the get go, you can expect that you're gonna have to appeal it. And it's just unfortunate that her attorney didn't follow through to the end. But that's what they do to you. They string you out and cost you money, and they know that most people won't follow through and until the end, and and that's why cops behave the way they do, because they know they can get away with it, and that's about all there is to that. But let me see if we have anything else here. So our new inductees to the Judicial Brady list is Peter Felice and John Robert Blakey. The Judicial Brady list is reserved for judges who behave disingenuously, who don't understand that they work for the public, who behave unethically, sometimes criminally. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're a district judge and you can't act in good faith, that's criminal to me. You shouldn't be on the bench. And these two guys, they're not the worst I've seen. This is just pretty typical stuff, but it's not good, and it's why we're at why we are where we're at in this country today. This is the judicial Brady list.